Are you ready to make our least fun video yet?
I am. Hello, internet.
Hello, the World Wide Web. We were hoping that this was going to be...
Follow me.
Sorry, are we keeping you up, me and the internet? For those of you who've been following along with our journey, our last video was about our first embryo transfer. So we were definitely hoping that this was going to be like a really exciting, like,
Oh my gosh, amazing. We didn't have any complications with anything.
kind of a video.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case. So this video, we want it to be really helpful to people who are maybe going through a similar experience, or maybe you know someone who has.
What it was like for us to experience having the transfer not be successful. If that can help anyone, that's fantastic.
We're going to fill you in just briefly on what happened after our embryo transfer, how we knew that it was not successful. We're also going to fill you in on how different our experiences have been and how we have both been, she's exhausted,
I'm yawning.
how we've both been coping with it in pretty different ways, and also just some really practical ways that might be helpful to you. Of course, we can only speak to our own experience. We're not counselors, we're not pretending to have all the answers, and obviously everyone's experience with this kind of stuff is super unique. We'd love to hear from you in the comments, stuff that's helped you deal with stuff, or just feel free to share your experiences either in the comments, or if you want to be a little bit less public about things, you can reach out to us on Instagram. And also we have a Google form in the description of this video that you can fill out if you would like to be super anonymous, but you want to feel like you want to share your experience.
Just having that communication can sometimes make all the difference for someone. Yeah, so feel free to chat with us if you want, or
Share if you want to share. Where we left off last time, we had just had our embryo transfer and we were super excited, and everyone says that the 10-day wait between the transfer and your pregnancy test is like the most challenging, and that is true. The worst thing was definitely on day 8. I woke up and I was bleeding, which is not something that you want. Sometimes it can be implantation bleeding can happen as the embryo is embedding into your uterus wall. But as the day kind of went on, it became more and more evident that actually, it's just my period, which just sucks. How did you feel through that? Because I feel like you were able to remain a lot more hopeful than I was on that day.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't happening to my body is I think the first thing. You could feel everything that was going on, and you had a whole different experience than I did. I've heard so many stories of people that have had bleeding all the way through pregnancies and still had a fine pregnancy. So I just thought the human body is a wacky and wild place, and I can't know what's happened until I've been told for sure what's happened.
Yeah, I could feel, because it just felt like I was getting my period. But it's weird because it was still different. It didn't feel like a normal period, but it definitely was like that no embryo is sticking around in there. That night we were able to speak to our specialist. She was like, unfortunately, it is sounding like it hasn't worked this time. I'd kind of been mainly holding my shit together all day and trying to remain positive and hopeful and everything. Hearing that from her, I was blindsided by how much grief I felt, like instantly. It was so devastating. It was pretty late at night when we found that out and just sat on the couch and cried for ages. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, the witching hour, and I just could not stop with the crying. I was shocked by how much grief I felt for what essentially is just a little bundle of cells. I knew it wasn't a baby yet, and I knew I wasn't pregnant yet. I guess it was like all of this hope and this excitement and having all the hormones and the drugs and everything that I have been on cranking, all of the hope that you have for that is just like crushed, I guess, instantly. I was told, don't let yourself go there. Don't think, oh, what have I done? Could I have done something differently? But it's like, I feel like it's almost impossible not to feel like maybe I shouldn't have eaten that or done this or whatever, but it isn't. And that's what the nurses said to me on the phone was, we've done all of the things that you can do to control this situation, but ultimately it all comes down to whether the embryo and the uterus talk nicely together and they decide. Like, it's got nothing to do with us anymore. But yeah, it sucked. And I was not prepared for how grief-stricken I would be. The medication is also causing everything that you feel to be exacerbated. It's just so intense.
I came home from work and Claire had said, you know, it seems like it's my period. And obviously it's her body, so she knows more than I will about it. So I was pretty certain that it hadn't worked. I think I was just really bummed out. I was just really, really sad about it. It sucked. It's frustrating. It was infuriating because you've built so much energy up. You're so excited. You're really hopeful. And it sucks. It just plain old sucks. But also, I think for me, I sort of checked in with myself, like, I am okay. I sort of went straight into, okay, what can I do? Is there anything I can do? Do we just sit with this? I just sort of sat with Claire and just tried to support you because I thought if I feel as sad about it as I do and all of the emotions that come with an unsuccessful transfer, I just thought Claire's feeling that plus so much more. So part of me feels like because I had you to focus on, because it was your body going through it, like just that different element, you know, it can be really difficult for the support person as well. I was aware of not focusing on Claire so much that I didn't focus on my own feelings around it. So I was just, I was doing a lot of writing and just a lot of reflection and lots of thinking and lots of chatting with family, just trying to make sure I was checking in with myself so that I could support you best. Yeah.
I want to talk about something that was very strange that I experienced that I think may be common. I'd love to know if anyone else has experienced this. I had a really unpleasant day. I'd been at home just feeling totally rubbish. This was in that first week. There was some soccer game on that Nina was really, really excited to watch.
So the Thursday night when the Matildas played?
I'd just spent the whole day feeling horribly sad. Nina came home and was just so excited and we were just in such different places. And I was like I had to remove myself from the communal area and I went and had a shower because I was just like, I am so angry that I'm sad and you're not in that moment. And it's like, I felt so guilty for how angry I felt with you because I was so aware of how unfair that is. And there was like this thing that you're really looking forward to and really excited about. It's like the Women's World Cup and I'm like, oh my God, you're ruining it with your sadness. And I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I was just, I think that I found very surprising how angry I was getting with you. But really fortunately, we have the kind of relationship where I can be honest about all of the weird feelings.
Yeah. It would have been very difficult if we couldn't communicate through that.
Yeah, it must be so challenging for people who are in a situation where they don't feel like they can talk about stuff. Not everyone has a partner who's okay with being told, I feel really angry with you about this really unreasonable thing. And I don't know, we're big talkers in this house. So that is something that I feel very grateful for. But that's part of why we wanted to create this video as well, and this opportunity for people who maybe you don't have anyone to talk to in your day-to-day life, whether that's a partner or loved ones. Like, it's hard to think of who can I talk to about this really strange grief that it feels like maybe no one else in the world understands. Because that's how I felt. I totally felt like, oh my God, even Nina doesn't get what I'm feeling. So we do have this form that people are welcome to fill out if you just want to get some stuff off your chest and you don't feel like you want to do that publicly in the comments. You can anonymously fill out and just spill your guts to some people who care. The things that I found really helpful for me coping with this strange surprise grief. The day after we found out, I very fortunately had a day off. I was at home, which was really good because I was just a total wreck for the entire day. And I think some of the things that really, really helped me were just really practical, one foot in front of the other sort of activities. Like, I had a shower, and that seems like such a small thing, but it was the most exhausting shower of my life. Maybe not quite, but it was a lot to do that. And I also ate a really healthy meal, and that is something that I can definitely forget to do. Like, if I'm going through a period of difficulty, I can definitely forget to eat well. It's one of the first things that goes out of the window, and then maybe I'll just eat crackers and hummus and go, oh, that was lunch, and just sitting in the sunshine. That was pretty much it the first day. I just cried a lot. Watch some TV, really brainless, dumb TV, which I think is very helpful. Is It Cake is a great recommendation of a TV show that you could watch when you're having a really, really hard time. I just wanted to kill the time because there's nothing that can get you through grief other than time passing, I think. And every day just gets a little bit easier and a little bit easier and a little bit easier. Yeah. Time killing.
It was actually really interesting. I found, because you posted something, getting some feedback and having people share their stories, not to distract from our own experience, but it was actually really helpful for me. Like, I am someone who does thrive on the company of others. I get a lot of energy from being with people and hearing their stories and sharing experiences. And even through the internet, that was, when Claire would feedback, this person's actually shared this, and like, it's sort of it's just that makes it more of a shared experience and more of a collectively felt thing, even though everyone does experience things individually and differently. Yeah, it's that sort of shared sadness or shared suffering. I think hearing other people's stories does help me, and how many times it might have not worked before it did work, or there's always the story of it working first time as well, and that's fantastic for the people that does happen for as well. Of course, we hope to be in that group. Everyone does.
It was a very interesting experience for me sharing that video on the Tuesday. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because I felt like I had to say something. We had told everyone so publicly that we would get our results on that Wednesday. I could not bear the thought of having to field all of these potential messages from people being like, what's the update? And so I just wanted to just be like, it didn't work. It was really interesting and unexpected how many messages of love and support and people just sharing their experiences, messages saying how much watching our story has been helping people as well. Now, I'm not saying everyone should start a YouTube channel and talk about their painful situations online, but Nina and I are both storytellers. We're both creative people, and for us it makes sense, I think, that sharing these stories and hearing other people's stories is very helpful to us.
I had work and I really, really enjoyed my job. So for me, going to work, it's kind of a healthy thing. The team I work with, we get along really well, and all of those things. It's been a very supportive environment. You all check in with each other, and they know that Claire and I are doing IVF. So everyone's sort of, cheering us on as well there. I sort of had that immediate support. Partly you chat about it at work, but then you also, it's good for me to sort of get on with things and focus on things that aren't just what I've got going on for me. It helps me a lot to have time to focus on my feelings. I'll sit down and I'll do some writing, or I'll listen to some music, or I'll play some music, or kick a soccer ball at the moment, watch some soccer. Things that will nurture me and nurture my feelings and let me just sit with what I'm feeling and how I'm feeling it. I'm grateful that we are in the position where we can just process our feelings as we need to. It would be different, I imagine, if we had a kid.
Yeah.
If we already had one and we were trying for a second. We right now have that time and space.
As soon as I was able to, went back to yoga, which was really amazing for me to go and do something that is good exercise, but also the community aspect of that, and going and seeing other people, because I was at home by myself a lot of the time, which was challenging but also kind of helpful, because it meant I did have the opportunity to just feel like crap for a bit. Also having junk food. There was one really amazing night. I was laying in bed, probably scrolling on Instagram or something, and Nina came in with pizza, and it like couldn't have been more appropriate.
Pretended I was getting something from the car, but I actually was going out to the street to get the pizza.
It was honestly a very clever trick. Yeah, junk food, amazing. Watching movies.
You had therapy?
I had therapy. Yeah, we're both super fortunate to have a therapist that we get to speak to. That was helpful, obviously.
Hey, you're in your full Lady Gaga costume.
Oh my god! I'm in my full Lady Gaga costume.
I just realised.
I think just allowing yourself to feel all of the things that you're feeling and knowing that they're valid and knowing that there's nothing weird about it. And I felt weird about it. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so upset about this thing that's like not even a thing. It wasn't even a thing. And that's why sharing that so publicly on Instagram and YouTube was like really important and healthy and helpful for me, because I heard from so many people who have been through the same thing that get it, and it sucks and it's so shockingly painful. And yeah,
I thought of something.
Just how you were saying, it was interesting, like with your body going through everything, all the emotions and hormones and all of the stuff, especially in the days just after, when you've still got that, you know, progesterone or whatever it is going through you, and you just, feeling things differently. And you said, but you were really angry with me. I think because I have had the chance to, and privilege, I suppose, to have a therapist and to work through loving and accepting myself and knowing myself well enough, and also my boundaries and knowing what I'm responsible for and what I'm not responsible for. And it's certain things like that, you know, Claire being angry, but also her letting me know that she's pretty sure she knows it's unreasonable that she's angry, but that's what she's feeling. Being able to go, yeah, that's her feelings. Like I can't tell her not to feel her feelings. That's how she feels. And I feel like that's not actually mine to carry. So, but it's, you know, how can I support her through that? Maybe a little bit of space. Maybe, like Claire said, she was in that room, I was in this room doing our own things. It's just that like loving and supporting each other through what you're feeling and knowing that each other's feelings are valid no matter what they are. There's just something important to be said for being able to communicate through those difficult patches where someone might feel really frustrated or angry or upset or whatever it is, and just being able to go, okay, it's totally okay that they're feeling that way. Or if that's how you feel, just letting yourself feel it. It's more what you do with it. Let yourself process it in a healthy way.
As the person physically going through the thing, I think it's really important to, if this is something that you're doing with a partner, I think it's really important to attempt to understand that they're also going through a thing, even though it might be quite a different experience. That's a challenge. That was a challenge for me, because I was like, I'm the one that had to do all the injections, and that was the other thing, facing the reality of, oh my goodness, I might have to, which I do, I am going to be doing all of that again, which I want to, but it's easy to go, oh, they're not even going through this. But you are, just in a very different way. But the other thing we didn't touch on is like, oh my God, the financial aspect of going, oh wow, now we have to come up with all of that money again. There's so much about it that sucks. It's a very challenging journey in so many ways. And this is actually what was promised to us in the beginning, was that it would be challenging. So it's just, now our experience is probably far more true to what the vast majority of people's experience is of trying to have a baby. It's not easy. It's exciting though. In 1 week, we're going to have our follow-up session with our specialist, and we're going to find out what we're going to be doing next, which I suspect will be another round of egg retrieval, and then give it another go. Give it another red hot bloody go.
I know what we'll be doing next. Making out.
Oh yeah, we will be for sure making out. We'd love to know in the comments what your experience has been like, or if you're just watching, you're along for the journey just to find out what this whole thing's all about. It would be awesome to know what people want to know about. Like, do you want to hear our coming out stories next, or do you want to, what do you want to know about? We're a couple of open books, aren't we, Nina?
Oh, yeah.